Daylight savings time, DST, has long been a part of life for many countries around the world. While it may seem like a simple adjustment, the reasons for its existence are deeply rooted in history and practical concerns. DST was originally introduced as a way to make better use of daylight, especially during the warmer months when the days are longer. The practice is fairly straightforward. Every year, the clocks are set forward 1 hour in the spring and set back again in the fall. For some, this means more daylight hours to enjoy after work or school. But for others, it can bring disruption and confusion, especially when it comes to adjusting to the time shift. Despite its widespread use, DST is a topic of debate. Some argue that it improves productivity and reduces energy consumption, while others question whether it's still relevant in our modern 24/7 world. As technology advances and our lives become more interconnected, many people are starting to wonder whether the practice is outdated and if we should just let it go. In this video, we'll delve into the history, pros, cons, and controversies surrounding daylight savings time, and try to answer the big question: is it still necessary in today's world? Stay tuned for some surprising facts and insights. Daylight savings time was first proposed by Benjamin Franklin in 1784, but it wasn't until the early 20th century that the idea started to gain traction. Franklin suggested it as a way to save candles by making better use of natural daylight, especially in the evening. However, it wasn't until World War I that many countries began to adopt DST as an official policy. Governments hoped that shifting the clocks would reduce energy consumption, particularly for lighting. During World War II, many countries continued to observe DST in an effort to conserve fuel and resources for the war effort. The practice became more widespread after the war, and by the 1960s, daylight savings time was widely adopted in many parts of the world. However, the start and end dates of DST varied by country, leading to confusion, which led to the introduction of uniform regulations in the 1970s. In the US, DST became standardized with the Uniform Time Act of 1966, which set a specific beginning and end for DST each year. Since then, debates over whether the practice is still necessary have continued, with some countries even opting to abandon it altogether in recent years. Understanding the history of DST helps us better appreciate why it has become such a significant, albeit controversial, part of modern life. But with the rise of technology, it's time to ask, is it still relevant? One of the primary reasons daylight savings time was introduced was to save energy. By shifting the clocks, people were expected to use less electricity for lighting in the evening, as the sun would stay up longer. The idea was that this adjustment would reduce overall energy usage, particularly in the evenings when people were most likely to need artificial lighting. Over the years, studies have shown mixed results regarding the effectiveness of DST in saving energy. Some research suggests that while there may be a small reduction in lighting energy consumption, the increased use of air conditioning, heating, and other appliances during daylight hours could offset those savings. Additionally, some modern technologies and changes in daily routines have made the energy-saving benefits of DST less significant than originally anticipated. Despite these findings, many governments still promote DST as a way to conserve energy, especially in countries with high electricity costs. Others point out that the energy savings are negligible and that the societal disruptions caused by the time change may not justify the marginal benefits. In an age where energy efficiency is more important than ever, the question arises, is the small energy saving from daylight savings time enough to justify the changes it brings to our daily lives? The shift in time due to daylight savings time is not only a logistical change, it also has real consequences for our bodies. Studies show that the transition to and from DST can disrupt sleep patterns, leading to increased stress and fatigue. The shift forward in spring, in particular, often causes people to lose an hour of sleep, which can throw off their internal body clock. This disruption has been linked to an increase in health issues, including higher rates of heart attack, stroke, and workplace injuries in the days following shift. Researchers believe that the sudden time change stresses the body, making it more vulnerable to these conditions. The loss of sleep also affects our cognitive function, mood, and overall ability to perform daily tasks. In contrast, the return to standard time in the fall tends to offer some relief, but the adjustment can still take a few days. It's clear that the time change does more than just affect our daily schedules. It has real consequences for our physical and mental health. Should we continue to endure the health risks of this time shift, or is it time to reconsider the practice of daylight savings time altogether? The shift in time also impacts businesses and the economy. While some industries, like retail, have claimed benefits from the longer daylight hours, encouraging more consumer spending, other industries face difficulties. For instance, industries that rely on international coordination, such as finance and transportation, must adjust to the time shift, often leading to confusion and miscommunication. The stock market, for example, has to adjust its opening and closing times to accommodate the time change, affecting trading hours in international markets. Additionally, businesses that rely on global supply chains may experience delays during the transition period, resulting in minor disruptions to daily operations. Some studies have suggested that the small economic gains from extended daylight hours are often offset by the disruptions caused by the time change. In fact, several business sectors may lose money due to lost productivity, errors from time confusion, and logistical delays. Some economists argue that the practice of DST may no longer be beneficial to modern economies that operate in a 24/7 global environment. In today's fast-paced world, it may be time to evaluate whether the economic benefits of daylight savings time are worth the drawbacks, especially considering the way we conduct business in a digital, connected world. In the 21st century, technology has changed how we experience time. With digital devices that automatically adjust clocks, many people hardly notice the transition between standard time and daylight savings time. Smartphones, computers, and smart home systems sync with global time servers, ensuring an effortless adjustment. Unlike the past, when people manually reset their clocks, today's automation makes the shift almost invisible, at least on the surface. However, while technology makes the transition smoother, it doesn't eliminate the disruptions DST causes. Sleep cycles are still affected, and people may wake up feeling groggy due to the lost hour. Work and school routines don't instantly adapt to the time shift, leading to reduced productivity. Additionally, in some regions where digital technology isn't widespread, people must still manually adjust their clocks, increasing the chance of confusion, missed appointments, and scheduling errors. DST also impacts the software industry. Many systems, from transportation schedules to medical records, rely on precise timing. Even a minor shift can cause inconsistencies, requiring software updates and adjustments to avoid malfunctions. Airlines, for instance, must reconfigure flight schedules to align with the time change, which sometimes results in delays and increased operational costs. As technology advances, many question whether DST is still necessary. With modern society operating on a 24-hour global schedule, businesses and individuals rely more on digital precision than artificial time adjustments. Is it time to phase out DST altogether, or does it still hold value in today's technological world? The shift in time, caused by daylight savings time, DST, can have significant effects on human health. Losing an hour of sleep in the spring disrupts the body's natural circadian rhythm, leading to fatigue, irritability, and difficulty concentrating. Studies have shown that heart attack rates and strokes slightly increase in the days following the time change, as the body struggles to adjust. Even a small disruption in sleep patterns can lead to long-term consequences, particularly for those with pre-existing health conditions. Mental health is also affected by DST. Sleep deprivation can lead to mood swings, anxiety, and an increased risk of depression. The sudden shift in daylight exposure can confuse the brain, making it harder for people to wake up or fall asleep at their usual times. For individuals with seasonal affective disorder, SAD, losing an hour of morning sunlight can be especially challenging, exacerbating feelings of fatigue and sadness. Beyond physical and mental health, DST impacts productivity and workplace efficiency. Studies show that employees make more mistakes and are less productive in the days following the time change. Drowsy driving accidents also spike due to sleep deprivation, making roads more dangerous. The cumulative effect of these disruptions raises questions about whether the health risks of DST outweigh its intended benefits. As more research emerges, health experts continue to debate whether society should abandon DST for the sake of overall well-being. Not every country observes daylight savings time, DST. While many nations, including the United States, Canada, and most of Europe, adjust their clocks twice a year, several others have abandoned the practice or never adopted it at all. Countries near the equator, where daylight hours remain relatively constant year-round, see little benefit in changing their clocks. Others, like Japan, India, and China, have opted out of DST altogether. In recent years, some regions have decided to eliminate DST, citing its negative impact on health, productivity, and energy savings. In 2019, the European Union voted to allow member states to choose whether to continue using DST, with some opting to stick to a permanent time schedule. Meanwhile, several U.S. states, such as Arizona and Hawaii, do not observe DST, remaining on standard time all year round. The debate continues globally, with many questioning whether the practice is still relevant in modern times. Technology and globalization also play a role in shaping how DST is managed worldwide. In an increasingly connected world, inconsistencies in time changes create confusion in international business, travel, and communication. Tech companies must constantly update their systems to reflect time changes, adding another layer of complexity. As more countries reconsider DST, the future of the practice remains uncertain, with some advocating for a global standard time to eliminate the confusion and health risks associated with shifting the clocks. As society evolves, so does the debate surrounding daylight savings time, DST. Many experts argue that the original reasons for implementing DST, energy conservation and increased productivity, are no longer as relevant in today's world. With modern technology, energy-efficient lighting, and changing work habits, the need to adjust our clocks twice a year is being questioned more than ever before. Several countries have already taken steps to eliminate DST, opting instead for permanent standard time or permanent daylight time. In the U.S., the Sunshine Protection Act has been proposed multiple times, aiming to make daylight savings permanent across the country. Similarly, in Europe, the movement to abolish DST has gained traction, with citizens voicing concerns about the negative health effects and disruptions caused by time changes. While some argue that longer evening daylight hours improve quality of life, allowing for more outdoor activities and boosting local economies, others believe that eliminating DST would lead to more stability in sleep patterns, work schedules, and overall health. The debate is ongoing, and as more scientific studies emerge, governments around the world will have to weigh the pros and cons of keeping or abandoning the practice. Ultimately, the future of DST will depend on whether societies prioritize tradition and lifestyle benefits or opt for stability and scientific recommendations. Whether the world moves towards a permanent time system or continues with biannual clock changes, one thing is certain: daylight savings time remains a controversial and evolving topic. Daylight savings time has been a part of global society for over a century, shaping the way people interact with time and the natural world. While originally introduced as a way to maximize daylight and save energy, its relevance in modern society continues to be debated. The twice-a-year time shift has its supporters and detractors, with science, economics, and lifestyle preferences all influencing the discussion. What started as a wartime effort has now become an annual ritual for millions. Some embrace the longer evenings in the warmer months, while others dread the sleep disruptions and health impacts. The world has changed significantly since DST was first implemented, with technological advancements and evolving work habits reshaping how we use our time. As nations reconsider the necessity of DST, the future remains uncertain. Will more countries move towards permanent standard or daylight time? Or will tradition and societal habits keep the biannual clock change alive? One thing is certain, no matter what governments decide, time itself will always march forward, unchanged by human laws. No matter where you stand in the debate, understanding the history, benefits, and drawbacks of DST is key to forming an informed opinion. Whether you relish the extra evening sunlight or dread losing an hour of sleep, the impact of DST is undeniable. So as the clocks shift once again, we must ask ourselves, is it time for a change?